A single photograph changed everything. One doctored image posted on a forgotten corner of the internet would birth the most terrifying legend of the digital age. What if I told you that the most feared monster of our time wasn't born from ancient folklore or Hollywood studios, but from a creative writing contest on an obscure forum? Today, we're diving deep into the chilling origins of Slender Man, the faceless entity that crawled out of the internet and into our nightmares. You'll discover how a simple photo manipulation became a global phenomenon that would inspire countless stories, games, movies, and even drive people to commit real crimes. If you want to uncover more dark internet mysteries like this one, hit that subscribe button. The year was 2009. The internet was a different place back then. Social media was still finding its feet. YouTube was growing fast, and hidden in the darker corners of the web, creative communities were experimenting with new forms of storytelling. One such place was Something Awful, a comedy website known for its forums where users would share jokes, memes, and participate in various creative contests. It was here, in June 2009, that a user named Victor Surge posted 2 black and white photographs to a contest called Create Paranormal Images. The challenge was simple. Take ordinary photos and edit them to look supernatural or unexplained. What Victor Surge created would go far beyond winning a simple contest. The first image showed a group of children playing in a park. Nothing unusual there. But lurking in the background, barely visible among the trees, stood an impossibly tall, thin figure in a black suit. Its face was completely blank, featureless, like someone had erased it entirely. Long, dark tentacles seemed to writhe from its back, reaching toward the unsuspecting children. The second photograph was found even more disturbing. It showed children walking near a building. And again, that same tall, faceless figure loomed in the background, its presence somehow both subtle and absolutely terrifying. But Victor Surge didn't just post the images. He included what appeared to be historical documentation, fake newspaper clippings, witness testimonies, and archival notes that gave the creature a name. Slender Man. He wrote about missing children, about an entity that had supposedly been lurking in forests and stalking the innocent for decades. One particular piece of fictional documentation read, "We didn't want to go. We didn't want to kill them. But its persistent silence and outstretched arms horrified and comforted us at the same time." Another described how 14 children had vanished from a local playground, with the only evidence being these disturbing photographs. The genius of Victor Surge's creation wasn't just in the visual design. It was in how he presented it. He didn't claim to have invented a monster. Instead, he created what looked like discovered footage, lost evidence of something that had always been there, waiting in the shadows. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Other users began creating their own Slender Man content. They wrote stories, created more fake documentation, and developed an entire mythology around this faceless figure. The creature's characteristics became more defined through collective storytelling. He was always described as unnaturally tall, somewhere between 8 and 15 feet. He wore a black business suit that never seemed to fit quite right. His face was completely blank, smooth white skin where features should be. And those tentacles, sometimes described as arms, sometimes as shadows that moved independently. What made Slender Man truly terrifying wasn't just his appearance, it was his behavior. He didn't kill quickly or obviously. Instead, he would stalk his victims, usually children, for weeks or months. He would appear in photographs before disappearing. Victims would become obsessed with forests, would start drawing pictures of trees constantly, and would eventually vanish without a trace. The mythology grew darker. People began writing about slender sickness, the psychological deterioration that occurred when someone encountered him. Symptoms included paranoia, nightmares, nosebleeds, and an irresistible urge to go into the woods. The more people learned about him, the more likely they were to become his next target. Within months, Slender Man had escaped the confines of something awful. The story spread across the internet like a virus. YouTube channels dedicated to documenting his appearances popped up everywhere. The most famous was Marble Hornets, a web series that followed a group of film students being stalked by the entity. The series used found footage techniques, making everything feel disturbingly real. Video games followed. Slender, the 8 pages, became a phenomenon in itself. Players had to collect 8 notes scattered throughout a dark forest while being hunted by the creature. The game was simple, but absolutely terrifying. It captured perfectly that feeling of being watched, of something following you just out of sight. But then, something horrifying happened. The line between fiction and reality began to blur in the most tragic way possible. In 2014, 2 12-year-old girls in Wisconsin lured their friend into the woods and stabbed her 19 times. When caught, they claimed they had done it to appease Slender Man, to become his servants, and protect their families from his wrath. The victim survived, but the incident sent shockwaves around the world. Suddenly, this internet creation had inspired real violence. Parents who had never heard of Slender Man were terrified. The media struggled to understand how an online story could have such devastating real-world consequences. The trial that followed revealed the disturbing power of modern mythology. The girls had become completely convinced that Slender Man was real. They had read the stories, watched the videos, and gradually lost the ability to distinguish between fiction and reality. They genuinely believed that by committing this terrible act, they would save their families from an even worse fate. This wasn't the only incident. Other cases emerged of young people becoming obsessed with Slender Man, sometimes to dangerous degrees. Parents found their children drawing the faceless figure obsessively, talking about forests, and showing signs of the very slender sickness that the fictional stories described. The creator, Victor Surge, whose real name was Eric Knudsen, had never intended for his creation to inspire real harm. He had simply wanted to win a creative contest on an internet forum. But he had accidentally tapped into something much deeper and more powerful than he realized. Slender Man succeeded as a modern myth because he reflected very real fears. fear of the unknown lurking just out of sight, fear of children being taken by predators, fear of losing control of our own minds. In our digital age, he represented the terror of information we can't verify, of stories that spread faster than we can fact-check them. The faceless entity also embodied our relationship with technology itself. He appeared in photographs and videos, but only barely, like a glitch in reality. He was everywhere and nowhere, much like our digital lives. He was the perfect monster for the internet age, born from pixels and spreading through screens. Today, Slender Man has become part of our cultural landscape. He appears in movies, books, and countless other forms of media. But his origin story remains a fascinating case study in how modern myths are created and spread. In just a few years, one person's creative writing exercise became a global phenomenon that influenced millions and, tragically, inspired real violence. The story of Slender Man shows us the incredible power of collaborative storytelling in the digital age. It demonstrates how quickly fiction can feel real when enough people participate in creating and sharing it. Most importantly, it reminds us that the stories we tell, even the ones we think are just for fun, can have consequences we never imagined. The faceless man in the black suit may have started as pixels on a screen, but he became something much more powerful. Proof that in our connected world, the line between reality and fiction is thinner than we ever thought possible.